Could you sell me that old magnifying glass with the crack in it for a little less?
Asked 12-year-old Leo, shivering at the pawn shop counter. His 4-year-old brother, who was hard of hearing, clung tightly to the hem of Leo's thin, ill-fitting jacket. To buy a birthday present for his grandfather, once a master watchmaker, now suffering from rapidly deteriorating eyesight, Leo had spent an entire week shoveling snow in the freezing wind, with temperatures plunging to -10 degrees. He spread his hands, red and numb from the cold, revealing only a handful of scraped-together coins and a few crumpled $1 bills, and looked at the shopkeeper with eyes full of hope. But the shopkeeper merely waved him away with a dismissive gesture.
We don't take junk here, and we don't do charity. Get out.
Leo fought back tears and turned to leave, when a deep, authoritative voice fell over the shop like a shroud of silence.
Hold on.
A silver-haired billionaire with a stern expression stepped slowly out from the shadows beside an antique clock and slammed a blank check down on the counter. His next move would not only teach this snobbish shopkeeper a harsh lesson, but also unveil a shocking secret buried for a decade, a secret that would forever alter the fate of everyone involved. Before we begin, please note, this is a fictional story intended to inspire and convey hope. We firmly believe that hearing the right story at the right moment is enough to dispel any winter's chill and change everything.
Bring out the professional watchmaker's magnifying glass with the solid gold trim from the top shelf of the display case.
I stared coldly at the shopkeeper behind the counter, his face frozen in shock. My finger tapped lightly twice on the blank check lying on the counter. Harry froze. His small eyes, which had spent years sizing up the thickness of others' wallets, now darted back and forth between me and the check.
Sir, are you joking?
He swallowed hard, trying to force an ingratiating smile.
Do I look like I'm joking?
I didn't raise my voice. Someone who spent years making decisions in boardrooms knows full well that true authority doesn't rely on shouting. Harry glanced at Leo and Sam standing nearby.
But sir, these two little beggars have dirtied my floor.
He pointed at the tattered shoes wrapped in electrical tape on Leo's feet.
They only managed to come up with $11 just now. That's money they earned through hard work.
I lowered my gaze to Leo's hands, reddened by the cold. The coins inside were already soaked through with sweat and melted snow.
Far cleaner than someone like you who makes a living by peddling counterfeits.
Harry's face instantly turned the color of liver.
Sir, everything I sell here is genuine. That Rolex in the third glass case on your left, the dial markings are off by 0.2 millimeters.
My tone was flat.
Would you like me to call the Bureau of Industry and Commerce and have them come appraise your genuine goods?
A deathly silence fell over the shop. Harry fell completely silent. He turned around and frantically reached up to the top shelf of the display case to retrieve the walnut box lined with black velvet.
This magnifying glass set sells for $3,000.
He placed the box on the counter, his voice sounding a bit shaky. I picked up the pen from the counter and wrote $5,000 on the check. Then I pushed it toward him.
The extra $2,000 is for the two actions you just performed.
Harry stared at the number on the check, his eyes wide.
At your service. First, pick up the coins this young gentleman just dropped on the floor one by one.
I pointed at the floor. Harry's expression froze, but he glanced at the $5,000 check and finally bent his portly waist. Like a clumsy penguin, he fumbled around on the floor for the scattered coins.
And the second?
He placed the collected coins on the counter and asked, panting.
Apologize to him.
I looked at him.
What? I said apologize to this young gentleman and his brother.
I emphasized my words.
You just insulted them.
Harry clenched his jaw. He turned around and gave Leo a perfunctory nod.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Leo's voice was soft, but it carried a wariness far beyond his years. He shielded his younger brother Sam behind him, like a lone wolf ready to protect its cubs at any moment. I picked up the walnut box containing the solid gold magnifying glass. I turned around and held it out to Leo.
This is a birthday present for your grandfather.
Leo didn't take it. His deep eyes fixed on me, filled with wariness toward the adult world.
I can't afford this,
He said hoarsely.
I only have $11.
You've already paid for it.
I pointed to the small pile of coins on the counter.
You bought it with your dignity and a week's worth of hard work.
Leo still didn't reach out. He had learned too early that there's no such thing as a free lunch. Just then, Sam, who had been hiding behind Leo, poked his head out. He wore a pair of old hearing aids that were nearly out of battery. his cheeks frozen bright red. He stretched out his small hand and gently tugged at the hem of my coat. Then he gave me a completely unguarded smile. A sharp pang suddenly shot through a place deep within my chest that had been frozen for 10 years. It was a warmth I hadn't felt since my son perished in the flames a decade ago.
Take it.
I crouched down so my eyes were level with Leo's.
Just do me a favor.
Leo hesitated for a long time. Finally, he slowly stretched out his frozen hands and took the box.
Thank you, sir.
He bowed deeply.
Come on, I'll walk you out.
Chapter 2. As I pushed open the antique shop's heavy glass doors, the December blizzard hit us head-on. The frigid wind, at -10 degrees, sliced across my cheeks like a knife. Leo immediately pulled Sam into his arms, using his own old, slightly too short cotton coat to try to shield them from the wind and snow. My Maybach was parked by the roadside, and the driver was standing by the door, waiting.
Get in.
I gestured toward the warm interior of the car.
No, thank you, sir.
Leo shook his head, clutching the walnut box tightly.
My grandfather taught me never to get into a stranger's car.
That's a good habit.
I didn't press the issue, just looked at him calmly.
But I'm going that way anyway, and your brother looks cold.
Sam was indeed shivering. His thin jacket was no match for the bitter cold of Ohio. Just then, a distinct gurgle sounded through the wind and snow. It came from Leo's stomach. He hung his head in embarrassment, trying to cover it up with a cough.
There's a nice restaurant nearby.
I opened the car door.
Join me for a meal. I never have much of an appetite when I eat alone.
Leo glanced at his younger brother who was shivering in his arms and finally relented. He carefully carried Sam into the car, afraid of staining the leather seats. The car's heating instantly enveloped us. Sam curiously fiddled with the seat heating buttons, his eyes sparkling. 10 minutes later, we pulled up in front of an upscale family restaurant. The restaurant manager spotted me and immediately came over.
Mr. Sterling, your private dining room is ready.
Just find us a table by the window in the main dining area.
I took off my coat and handed it to a server.
It's livelier over here.
We sat down at a spacious booth. Leo looked extremely uncomfortable. He clutched the box containing the magnifying glass tightly to his chest, as if it were his entire world. The waiter handed us the menu. Leo glanced at the prices and his eyes widened instantly. He quickly closed the menu.
We're not hungry.
His lying skills were terrible.
I'm hungry.
I didn't call him out on it. Instead, I motioned to the waiter.
2 tomahawk steaks, a children's pasta, and 2 bowls of hot cream of mushroom soup.
The food arrived quickly. The steamy aroma filled the table. Leo swallowed hard, but he didn't pick up his knife and fork right away. He skillfully cut the pasta into small pieces and pushed them towards Sam. Then he quickly signed a few gestures. Sam immediately began eating happily, his mouth smeared with ketchup. Only then did Leo pick up his spoon and take small sips of his soup. He cut off the tenderest part of his steak and quietly placed it on Sam's plate. He did all this with the utmost naturalness. It was as if caring for his younger brother were an instinct he'd been born with.
You mentioned earlier that the magnifying glass was a gift for your grandfather.
I put down my knife and fork and looked at him. Leo paused and nodded earnestly.
He used to be a really skilled watchmaker.
When he mentioned his grandfather, a proud gleam shone in his eyes.
He could repair the most complex mechanical watches in the world.
Then why doesn't he repair them anymore?
I picked up my coffee cup. Leo's eyes dimmed.
His eyesight has deteriorated severely.
He said in a low voice.
The doctor said his optic nerve is damaged. Unless he has surgery, he'll go completely blind very soon.
Why is it damaged?
I pressed him. Leo was silent for a long time. He seemed to be weighing whether he should share such heavy memories with a stranger.
10 years ago, there was a fire at his workplace.
He finally spoke.
To save someone, he rushed into the burning building.
The coffee cup in my hand wobbled slightly. A few drops of black liquid splashed onto the pristine white tablecloth.
He's a hero.
I said softly.
But he wasn't treated like one, was he?
Leo looked up, a hint of bitterness, unbecoming of his age, flashing across his deep eyes.
They said he abandoned his post without authorization.
He clenched his fist.
Not only did they refuse to cover his medical expenses, they also suspended his pension.
What's the name of that company?
I felt a tightness in my throat. Leo looked me in the eyes and answered, enunciating each word clearly.
Sterling Logistics Group.
Chapter 3. The clatter of the restaurant seemed to vanish in an instant. My mind went blank for a moment.
Sterling Logistics Group.
I repeated the name, my voice hoarse and unfamiliar even to myself.
Yes.
Leo didn't notice my distress. He continued speaking calmly.
My grandfather's name was Elias. He used to be the
It's
chief
up to me
mechanical
to make
maintenance
sure the work
engineer at Warehouse
continues.
7 there.
Warehouse 7. That night, 10 years ago. The sky ablaze, the piercing wail of sirens, and my son, his face burned beyond recognition. Everything exploded in my mind like a movie reel rewinding.
Your grandfather.
I took a deep breath, trying to suppress the tidal wave churning in my chest.
Who was the person he saved back then?
I don't know.
Leo shook his head.
Grandpa never mentioned that person's name. He only said it was a very young life and that he didn't regret rushing in.
My hands began to tremble uncontrollably. For 10 years, I had believed my son had died in an accident. I had always thought no one had tried to save him. I shut myself away in my empty mansion, numbing my guilt with cold detachment and work. Little did I know that in some dilapidated corner of the city, the person who truly tried to save my world was struggling in the darkness.
What happened next?
I forced myself to calm down and asked.
Why did the company say he abandoned his post without authorization?
A flicker of anger ignited in Leo's eyes.
Because of an executive named Victor.
He spat out the name through gritted teeth.
Victor Harrison.
Those 5 words struck like a bolt of lightning, clearing away all the fog before my eyes. Victor, the vice president I trusted most. That guy who always wore expensive tailored suits and spoke endlessly of the company's interests.
Before the fire, Grandpa had submitted 3 reports about malfunctioning fire safety equipment.
A tremor ran through Leo's voice.
But Victor suppressed the reports. To cut costs, he didn't send anyone to fix them. After the fire, to cover up the truth, he forged Grandpa's attendance records. He claimed Grandpa wasn't even on duty that night and that the fire was caused by improper operations.
I closed my eyes. The investigation
As you
report
can
from
see
10
in the
years ago was
report,
indeed submitted
the
to me
projections
personally
are quite
by Victor.
favorable.
It stated in black and white,
Please,
employee Elias's
take this as a
improper
small
operation
thank
caused
you
the
from the
fire in
team.
warehouse number 7. At the time, I was consumed by the grief of losing my son and didn't bother to verify the facts. I even signed the report agreeing to strip that culprit of all compensation. It turns out I was the one who personally sent my benefactor to hell.
Sir, are you all right?
Leo finally noticed that something was wrong with my expression.
You look very unwell.
I didn't answer because I was afraid that if I spoke, I wouldn't be able to control my emotions. Just then, a pair of warm little hands rested on my forehead. It was Sam. I didn't know when he had crawled over to my side. He looked at me with those clear eyes, and his little hands gently smoothed out my furrowed brow. Then, he gave me a hug. It was a wholehearted hug, carrying the scent of milk. My stiff body gradually relaxed in that embrace. 10 years. I finally felt the warmth of being alive again.
I'm fine.
I gently patted Sam on the back and turned to look at Leo.
Did you eat enough?
Leo nodded.
We should head home. Grandpa is waiting for us.
Okay,
I stood up and pulled my wallet out of my pocket.
I'll drive you home.
Chapter 4. The Maybach glided smoothly along the snow-covered streets. Before taking them home, I had the driver pull up in front of a large supermarket chain.
Wait for me in the car.
Leaving those words behind, I walked into the supermarket alone. 15 minutes later, I emerged pushing 2 fully loaded shopping carts. They were packed with top-quality ingredients and high-protein supplements, enough to last them a month, as well as 2 thick, warm-down jackets.
Sir, this is too much.
Leo looked at the mountain of supplies piled in the trunk, his eyes filled with alarm.
We can't accept this.
This is for Sam.
I wrapped one of the down jackets around Sam.
He's still growing. He can't keep freezing like this.
Leo opened his mouth, but in the end, he swallowed his refusal. The car finally pulled up in front of a dilapidated public housing complex in the East District. Most of the streetlights were broken, and the stairwell reeked of mold. Carrying 2 large bags of supplies, I followed Leo up to the 3rd floor.
Grandpa, we're back.
Leo pushed open the rickety wooden door and called out softly. The temperature inside was shockingly low. The heat had clearly been cut off for a long time. A white-haired old man sat in the center of the dim living room, wrapped in a tattered blanket. His eyes were cloudy and unfocused, but when he heard footsteps, he turned his head immediately.
Leo, you've brought someone back.
The old man's voice was hoarse, yet it carried an undeniable air of authority.
His footsteps are heavy. He's wearing leather shoes.
Yes, Grandpa.
Leo set down what he was holding and walked over to the old man.
This gentleman was a great help to us. Not only did he buy me this magnifying glass, but he also treated us to dinner.
He pressed the walnut box into the old man's hands. Elias felt the box, his fingers lingering for a moment on the solid gold trim.
It's too valuable.
He shook his head and pushed the box away.
We cannot accept such a valuable gift from a stranger. It's just a belated birthday present.
I stepped forward, looking at this former hero. His face was covered in horrific burn scars, the marks left from saving my son.
You are a man of great honor, Mr. Elias. Who are you?
Elias keenly picked up on the unusual tone in my voice, his cloudy eyes fixed intently on the direction of my voice.
There's a tone in your voice that suggests you're used to giving orders.
Just as I was about to speak, a violent pounding suddenly came from outside the door.
Elias, you old fossil, get your ass out here.
The door was kicked open. A burly man strode in with a swagger. He was the landlord of the building, reeking of cheap alcohol.
Today is the final deadline.
The landlord pointed his finger at Elias and started yelling.
If you don't pay the 3 months rent you owe, you'll be out on the street sleeping in the snow tonight.
Sam was terrified, cowering behind Leo and trembling. The landlord's gaze fell on the walnut box sitting on the table.
Oh, you can't even afford to eat, but you've got money to buy fancy stuff like this.
He reached out to grab the box.
Let go.
Leo lunged forward, shielding the box with his body.
You little bastard, you're asking for it.
The landlord raised his hand, about to slap Leo across the face.
Stop.
My icy voice boomed through the cramped living room. Chapter 5. The landlord's hand froze midair. He turned his head and only then noticed me standing in the shadows.
Where the hell did you crawl out from?
He eyed my tailored charcoal gray coat from head to toe, a flicker of apprehension crossing his eyes. But the alcohol had clearly emboldened him.
This is between me and them. Mind your own business.
You just said they owe you 3 months rent?
I ignored his rant, my tone as calm as if I were discussing today's weather.
That's right, a whole $1,500.
The landlord snorted.
What, are you going to pay it for them?
Number.
I shook my head.
I don't intend to pay it for them.
The landlord laughed smugly.
Then get the hell out of here. Don't get in my way while I kick them out.
He reached out to grab Leo again. I didn't move. I simply pulled my phone out of my coat pocket and dialed my assistant.
Look up the ownership of the low-income housing building at 402 Glendale Avenue NU in the East District.
I ordered into the phone.
Within 10 minutes, I want to buy the entire property.
The room fell silent for a moment. Then, the landlord burst into a shrill laugh.
Buy this building? Who do you think you are? Some Wall Street tycoon?
He pointed at me, laughing so hard he was doubled over.
There's a limit to how much you can put on airs.
I ignored him, simply staring silently at the second hand on my watch. 8 minutes later, the landlord's phone in his pocket started ringing frantically. He answered it with some irritation.
Hello, boss? What's going on in the middle of the night?
On the other end of the line came the furious roar of the property management company's boss. Although he hadn't put the call on speaker, it was still clearly audible in the quiet room.
You idiot. Did you cross someone you shouldn't have in Unit 402?
The landlord's expression changed instantly.
Be boss? What do you mean by that?
The entire building has just been fully acquired by the Sterling Group.
The boss bellowed over the phone.
The new owner's first order is for you to get the hell out immediately. You're fired.
The call was hung up. The landlord clutched his phone, staring at me as if I were a monster. The flesh on his face was trembling violently.
Who exactly are you?
As of now, this building belongs to me.
I slipped the phone back into my pocket and stared at him coldly.
I'm giving you 30 seconds to get the hell out of my property.
The landlord didn't even dare to utter a single threat. He scrambled out of the room, practically crawling. Dead silence fell over the living room once more. Leo and Sam stared at me blankly, as if they were looking at a god who had descended from the heavens. But Elias's expression turned grim. He clenched his fists so tightly his knuckles turned white.
Sterling Group.
He repeated the name through gritted teeth.
You just said on the phone that you're with the Sterling Group.
He sprang to his feet, jabbing his cane in my direction.
Did Victor send you? Has he finally decided to wipe us out completely? No, Mr. Elias.
I took a deep breath, meeting his clouded yet furious gaze.
I wasn't sent by Victor.
I paused, letting each word that followed ring out clearly in the air.
I am Arthur Sterling.
Chapter 6.
Arthur Sterling.
Elias repeated the name, his body lurching violently. Leo rushed forward to steady him.
So it's you.
The old man suddenly let out a cold laugh, his voice dripping with endless sorrow and sarcasm.
President Sterling, high and mighty, how did you find the time to grace our lowly slums with your presence?
He pounded the floor heavily with his cane.
Did you come to check if that old has-been, the one you personally fired and stripped of all severance pay, has finally kicked the bucket yet?
Grandpa, what are you talking about?
Leo looked at me in shock, then back at Grandpa.
This gentleman just helped us.
Leo, shut up.
Elias snapped.
You have no idea who's standing right in front of you. He is the leader of that cold-blooded empire.
I didn't argue, because every word he spoke was a crime I had committed 10 years ago. I walked slowly toward Elias. Then, in this dilapidated living room, I bowed deeply to this blind old man.
I'm sorry.
My voice trembled slightly.
This apology is 10 years late.
Elias froze. He clearly hadn't expected this reaction from me.
Do you think a simple "I'm sorry" can erase a decade of suffering?
He clenched his teeth, a murky tear sliding down the corner of his eye.
I don't need your charity, Mr. Sterling. Please leave. I'm not here to offer charity.
I straightened up, looking at him with unwavering resolve.
I'm here to find the truth.
I told him exactly what had happened today, about running into Leo at the antique shop and everything I'd overheard at the restaurant.
I always thought that fire was an accident.
I closed my eyes in anguish.
I always thought that investigation report on the safety violations was true. It wasn't until today that I learned it was you who rushed into the flames trying to save my son.
Elias fell silent. He fumbled his way back into his chair and let out a long sigh.
That young man, was he your son? Yes, he was brave.
Elias said softly,
The fire was too intense. I only managed to push him toward the window before I was struck by a beam. I'm sorry I couldn't bring him out unharmed.
My eyes welled up with tears.
You did everything you possibly could.
I walked over to him.
Now tell me, what exactly did Victor do back then?
Elias's face turned ashen.
A month before the fire, there was a serious leak in the fire sprinkler system in Warehouse 7.
He recalled the details from that time.
I submitted repair requests 3 times in a row, but Victor rejected all the repair budgets to secure the year and profit bonuses. After the fire, he tracked me down at the hospital.
The old man's voice began to tremble.
He held a forged attendance record and threatened me. If I didn't admit to leaving my post without authorization, he'd cut off all my health insurance. I was already blind at the time and I had Leo to support. I had no choice.
I listened quietly. The rage I'd suppressed for 10 years had now turned into a cold, murderous intent.
I understand.
I stood up and straightened the collar of my coat.
For the injustices you've endured over the past 10 years, I'll make Victor pay back 1,000-fold. Please get some rest.
I walked to the door and glanced back at Leo.
Take good care of Grandpa. Tomorrow, I'll give you an explanation.
Chapter 7. The following morning, Sterling Group headquarters, top floor conference room. Outside the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, the winter sunlight in Columbus looked somewhat bleak. The conference room was filled with the group's senior executives. Victor Harrison stood in front of the projector, presenting the financial plan for the next quarter with great confidence. He wore his signature Italian bespoke suit and was doused in expensive fur-scented cologne.
Ladies and gentlemen, to further optimize the company's asset structure, I propose closing several outdated logistics warehouses in the East and South districts.
He tapped the data on the screen with his laser pointer.
At the same time, we will cut medical benefit subsidies for entry-level employees by 15%. This is called optimizing non-performing assets. We cannot let the company's financial reports be dragged down by these low-level parasites.
A round of approving applause rang out in the conference room. Bang! The heavy mahogany doors of the conference room were flung open. Accompanied by 3 top-tier private lawyers, I strode into the room. The once bustling conference room instantly fell silent. Everyone stared at me in shock. Because in the past 4 years, I had hardly ever set foot in this conference room.
President Arthur.
Victor was the first to react. He immediately put on a sycophantic smile and hurried over to greet me.
Why did you come in person? Are you feeling better?
He tried to reach out to take my coat. I ignored his outstretched hand and walked straight to the head of the conference table to take my seat.
Victor, your report was quite impressive.
I stared at him coldly.
Cutting benefits for the lower ranks, optimizing non-performing assets. Is that your logic for making money for the company?
Victor's smile froze for a moment.
President, this is also for the benefit of the shareholders.
The shareholders benefit?
I let out a cold laugh. I took a thick stack of documents from my lawyer and slammed them down on the conference table. Thud. The sharp sound sent a shiver through the room.
Then why don't you explain to these shareholders exactly whose pockets the 30% kickbacks you've pocketed over the past decade through offshore shell companies in fire equipment procurement have ended up in?
Victor's face turned deathly pale in an instant.
Arthur, what are you talking about? I don't understand.
He tried to feign composure.
This is slander. Someone is definitely framing me.
Framing you.
I flipped open the first page of the documents.
3 fire safety maintenance requests submitted by Elias a month before the fire at Warehouse 7 10 years ago.
I looked up, my gaze as sharp as a knife fixed on him.
There's your handwritten rejection note right here. The reason given, insufficient budget.
Victor's legs began to tremble.
Well, that was because our financial situation at the time was indeed.
Shut up.
I slammed my fist down on the table.
After the fire, you took forged attendance records to the hospital to threaten a blind old man. You deprived him of his workers' compensation and cut off his pension. You even used his grandson to blackmail him into silence.
I stood up and advanced toward him step by step.
You call cutting the fire safety budget profit? You call depriving a hero who saved my son of his lifeline asset optimization.
Victor backed up repeatedly until his back hit the projector screen. He finally realized that the secret he'd kept hidden for 10 years had been completely exposed. Chapter 8.
Arthur, let me explain.
Victor was completely panicked. He didn't care that his expensive tailored suit was soaked through with cold sweat. He desperately tried to grab my arm.
That fire was an accident. I didn't mean for it to happen. I did it all to protect the company's reputation.
Protect the company's reputation.
I shook off his hand in disgust. You were protecting your own insatiable greed. I turned to the lawyer standing beside me.
David, read out what we uncovered last night.
David pushed up his gold-rimmed glasses and opened the folder in his hand.
According to our investigation, Mr. Victor Harrison has, over the past decade, repeatedly forged workers' compensation reports by abusing his position. He has diverted the lawful compensation of at least 45 employees into his private accounts in the Cayman Islands. The amount involved totals $12 million.
A collective gasp filled the conference room. The executives who had been cheering for Victor just moments ago now lowered their heads, fearing they might be implicated.
That's not all.
David continued reading.
Last night, he also attempted to contact a property management company in the East District, intending to forcibly evict the Elias family from their affordable housing. He even threatened to cut off Elias's long-term prescription medication.
Victor collapsed to the floor like a heap of mud. He knew he was finished.
Arthur, I've been with you for 15 years.
He suddenly crawled toward me like a madman and clung to my leg.
Even if I haven't earned merit, I've put in the hard work. I've made so much money for the company. You can't do this to me.
Every penny you made for the company is stained with other people's blood.
I looked down at him from above. There was not a shred of pity in my eyes.
Did you think you'd covered your tracks perfectly, Victor? Did you think the underclass you've been trampling underfoot would never speak up?
The conference room door swung open again. Several heavily armed police officers walked in.
Victor Harrison, you are suspected of embezzlement, evidence tampering, and extortion.
The lead detective produced the arrest warrant.
You are now under arrest.
The cold handcuffs clicked shut around Victor's wrists. He completely broke down, screaming like a pig being slaughtered.
Arthur, you can't be so heartless. Your son is already dead. Even if you send me to prison, he won't come back to life.
He tried to wound me with the most vicious words, but I just watched coldly as the police dragged him away.
Spend the rest of your life in prison and reflect on your actions.
I turned to face the executives in the conference room who sat in stunned silence.
Effective immediately, Sterling Group is establishing an internal review committee.
I announced my decision.
Every work injury claim that was unjustly denied must be re-examined. Any compensation owed must be paid in full. And anyone who dares to cut corners on safety or employee welfare again.
I scanned the room.
Victor is what awaits you.
The conference room fell deathly silent. I paid them no mind and walked straight out the door because I had more important matters to attend to. Chapter 9. The top floor VIP suite at Columbus's finest private hospital. I stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows in the hallway watching the snow outside gradually melt. 2 hours ago, I arrived at Glendale Avenue with the best medical team available. I didn't give Elias any chance to refuse. I had the orderlies carry him straight into a fully equipped ambulance. At the same time, I arranged for Sam to see the best cochlear implant specialist in the country.
Mr. Sterling.
The attending physician emerged from the ward, interrupting my train of thought.
Mr. Elias's preoperative examinations are complete.
He flipped through the medical records in his hand.
Although the optic nerve is severely damaged, it hasn't completely died. With decompression surgery, we have an 80% chance of restoring some of his vision. Then schedule the surgery as soon as possible.
I said without hesitation.
Use the best equipment and the best medications. Cost is no object. Understood.
The doctor nodded and turned to leave. I pushed open the ward door and walked inside. Elias was lying in the hospital bed. Although his eyes were closed, I knew he wasn't asleep. Leo was sitting by the bed, holding his grandfather's hand tightly. When he saw me enter, Leo stood up.
Sir,
His gaze held a touch less wariness and a hint of complex emotion.
the news is already reported on Victor's case.
He said in a low voice.
The police found a lot of evidence at his villa.
He got exactly what he deserved.
I walked over to the bed and looked at Elias.
Mr. Elias, the surgery is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Why did you have to go this far?
Elias suddenly spoke up. He didn't open his eyes, but his voice was unusually clear.
You've already put Victor in prison and helped us pay the rent. We're even. No, we can never be even.
I pulled up a chair and sat down beside his bed.
You saved my son, even though he eventually left us.
I looked at my hands, trembling slightly.
But for the past 10 years, I've lived with guilt and self-reproach. I locked myself away in that cold house, thinking that was my punishment.
I looked up at Leo, standing nearby.
Until yesterday at the antique shop, I saw Leo holding those coins in his frozen hands to buy you a magnifying glass. I saw Sam in the restaurant smoothing my furrowed brow with his little hands.
My voice caught in my throat.
I suddenly realized that my 10 years of punishment were meaningless.
I stood up and walked over to Leo. I crouched down to meet his eye level.
Your grandfather tried to save my world back then.
I looked into his deep eyes, my eyes stinging.
And you yesterday in that antique shop saved my soul.
Leo didn't say a word. He simply took a step forward and gave me a tight hug, just like the hug Sam gave me yesterday at the restaurant, warm and full of strength.
Everything will be okay.
I patted him on the back.
I promise.
Chapter 10. A few months later, spring finally arrived in Columbus. The snow melted and tender green buds sprouted from the branches. The garden of the Sterling mansion was filled with laughter and joy sounds that had been long absent.
Big brother, look, a butterfly.
Sam pointed at the butterfly fluttering among the flowers and shouted excitedly. He wore a state-of-the-art cochlear implant in his ear. Although his speech was still a bit slurred, he could finally hear the sounds of the world.
Slow down, don't trip.
Leo followed behind him. His face lit up with the bright smile typical of a boy his age. He was no longer wearing that old, too short cotton coat. Instead, he had changed into a clean, well-fitting casual outfit. I sat under the garden parasol, holding a cup of black tea, quietly watching them.
The hairspring in this pocket watch has aged a bit, but it can still be repaired.
Elias, sitting beside me, set down his tools. Wearing his professional watchmaker's loop with its solid gold rim, his eyes shone with intense focus. The surgery had been a success. Although he couldn't regain the vision he'd had 10 years ago, it was enough to allow him to handle those delicate watch parts once more.
There's no rush.
I smiled.
You have plenty of time to take your time with the repair.
Elias took off his magnifying glass and turned to look at me.
I hear you've established a foundation in your son's name? Yes,
I nodded.
the Sterling Workers Aid Foundation.
I set down my teacup.
It provides legal and medical assistance specifically to working-class people who've been injured on the job but denied compensation for various reasons. The initial funding has already been secured, and Attorney Marcus is handling the first few cases.
I looked at him.
I hope you'll agree to serve as the foundation's honorary advisor.
Elias was silent for a moment.
I'm just an old man. What do I know about being an advisor? You know what perseverance is and what it means to stand your ground.
I said earnestly.
Those who find themselves in desperate situations need to see a role model like you.
Elias watched his two grandsons running in the garden, and a relieved smile finally spread across his scarred face.
All right,
He nodded.
since you're so insistent, I'll give it a try.
Leo ran over, his forehead glistening with a fine sheen of sweat.
Mr. Arthur, could I borrow your study for a moment? There's a math problem I can't figure out.
He had grown accustomed to coming and going freely in this house.
Of course.
I stood up.
Come on, I'll help you.
I led Leo into the villa. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows onto the hallway, dispelling all gloom. This mansion, once as cold as a tomb, finally regained the warmth of a home. Sometimes, the magnifying glass you buy for a stranger in the biting wind will eventually magnify the light that has long been lost in your own life. Kindness is always a circle that closes when you choose not to look away. When you choose to lend a helping hand, a miracle happens right then and there. The end. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe and join us in spreading this warmth to more people in need.